warm welcome to everybody at home. Yeah, we're at Four Ways today, just north of Johannesburg, and this indeed is the scene for the latest in a series of New Age business briefings brought to you by the SABC, and today very kindly sponsored by Telkom, very much a part of today's conversation as well. And as Leanne was saying, at this time of the year, well, basic education really does come into sharp focus because the matric exams are upon us, and that's pretty much the last measure about how the education system has worked for these learners over the previous 12 years, and they're pretty much setting their futures in motion. The questions that we have for today, and perhaps you might be posing to Minister and the panel that I'll be introducing to you in a short while, is just how prepared are our students to get through this final hurdle before they are unleashed into tertiary education and the world at large? How well has the education system been working? And we'll be exploring other areas such as ICTs in schools, e-learning. How is that contributing? We've had lots of conversations around the curriculum. Is it a quality one? Is the quality of the certificates that the children are getting or the learners that are getting up to scratch? How do we compare with our counterparts in other parts of the world? And also, I guess, even on the rock face itself, the teachers, the educators themselves, what challenges are they facing? What successes are they having? If you've been watching the news recently, some of the issues that have come up, of course, you've seen violence in schools, teachers being set upon by students, and we've also got the challenges that the learners themselves face with some of the problematic teachers. But that's just part of the story. There's also successes, and we're certainly going to hear about that in a short while from Minister of Basic Education, Angie Motshekga, and also in discussion with the panel. But don't forget, you at home can be part of this conversation. We certainly would like your input, so listen up and then contribute as well. But with that, it's my great pleasure now to welcome the Minister of Basic Education, Ms. Angie Motshekga.
Morning, and thank you very much, Peter. Let me also acknowledge with gratitude the support we got from Telkom, New Age and SABC. And Peter, I won't go through the speech just to allow the discussion to flow. We will place it on our website if people want the full text of the speech. So thank you again for making this possible for us, because it is important for us to, on an ongoing basis, to account to the electorate. And with education, you're quite right, it is quite timely for us. If you recall, in the beginning of the year, I have said that as a sector, we were ready for a very good start for school in 2013, with great prospects for improvement. So I want to reiterate that choices we made in recent years in education policy were correct, and the standard can only go up. There is evidence also in our rising exams and assessment credibility. From next week, as you said, Peter, from the 28th of October, our learners will write matric exams until the 29th of November. They'll be writing from almost 6,699 exam centers, and this is a critical time for their lives, having given around 12 years to the schooling system. And we request parents and families to support them through this very challenging period of their lives. If you recall, last year, Peter, we scored 73.9% for matric passes, and when we had our supplementary exams, it rose up to 75.7%, which is the highest since democracy. This year are going to be presenting more than 707,000 learners. More than 576,000 of them are full-time, and more than 130,000 of them are part-time. We've increased number of learners who have enrolled in maths and science, though we still feel it's not enough, and we are doing, and I'll speak to that later. And also the point that we also want to make is that to ensure that we are in line with international trends, we benchmark our exams against other systems internationally. We benchmark some of our subjects with the Scottish Qualifications Authority, with Cambridge International Examinations, and also the Board of Studies of New South Wales in Australia. Again, in keeping with our inclusive education policy, we adapted question papers for the blind, the partially sighted and deaf candidates. We have brailled and adapted papers for the blind, and this was completed in September. And we've put all different measures to minimize risk in provinces by delaying printing, improving security in our storage facilities, and tighter controls are also on scripts. They'll be barcoded and scanned, so the number of scripts received will be controlled at key points at the script flow process. There are 118 marking centers. We have trained markers, and they'll be ready to start marking. And there'll also be a new statement which is barcode, which has a special feature this year, including the Republic of South African watermark and a unique serial number. So as I've said, we've done our best to prepare the system and learners. Targeted interventions were activated in provinces to support learners and schools throughout the year. And I must say, we're quite blessed to have a relatively, not fully stable year, a relatively stable year this year. Provinces ran Saturday classes, winter classes. So if you recall, Mr. Ndora, most of these interventions were announced when we addressed the breakfast in January. They were communicated to MECs and they were monitored throughout the year. But as I say, we also have our challenges. And amongst these is the need to pay more attention to undifferentiated teaching in schools, pay more attention to multi-grade schools in their dynamics. We have our challenges around teacher recruitment, development, and deployment. Our learners must still perform at the required level in language and mathematics as shown by national, regional, and international assessments. There's a need to set up focused training on the areas identified in annual national assessments, like integration of the teaching of grammar skills and language conventions, teaching handwriting, increasing the volume of writing, and enforcing daily mathematics lessons. We have a challenge also of scaling up support for poor learners in line with international trends, where there's always, and it's not only a South African phenomena, there's always a gap between children from poor and affluent families, and using our budget fully to turn around schooling in line with Action Plan and the NDP. Several processes are in place. The ultimate aim be to improve learner outcomes and quality of schooling from early years. We are committed to continue improving the quality of early childhood development. We have developed a concept document on a revised funding strategy for grade R. We have developed conditions we're improving conditions of service for grade R practitioners. Next year, we'll complete the implementation of the curriculum and assessment policy statement when we roll out grade 7 to 9 and grade 12. CAPS was introduced in 2012, and I'm quite excited that as I leave office, we will be finalizing the rolling out of CAPS. We have developed the curriculum and assessment policy statement for technical schools. We'll be training and developing materials this year, and we will be ready to implement by 2015. We have developed a national instrument to monitor curriculum coverage in schools, which helps us to monitor, guide, control, and support teaching. We have identified the annual national assessment as one of the key strategies that we are using. We emphasize that this assessment involves regular testing of learners in key foundation skills of literacy and numeracy. Last month, we conducted the third full-scale ANA, involving more than 7 million learners between grade 1 and 6 and grade 9 learners in more than 20,000 schools. We have also released a national reading program for grade R to 12, further to strengthen reading and literacy outcomes at classroom and school level. Because international tests are confirming improvements in systems, including 2011, in the trends in mathematics and science. And I'm also very excited to also announce that our children this year took part in continental and international competitions. We were second in the Pan-African Mathematics Olympiad, with Nigeria taking the first position and South Africa with the second in the Maths Olympiad. Again, the international platform, we were ranked 58 out of 97 countries in International Mathematics Olympiad. That also excites that indeed we've improved our performance also in these international platforms. We'll be hosting the 2014 South Africa will be hosting the 55th International Maths Olympiad at the University of Cape Town. We're working very hard to improve maths and science. I had set up a ministerial task team to investigate underperformance in this area. We have received the findings or recommendations from a high-level team, and we have agreed with them that we will set up a specialized office for maths, science, and technology, just to specifically focus on maths and science. But the main reasons that we say we have made progress and that we see in the sector, it includes our sustained focus on the 3 T's of teacher, text, and time on task. We also say through the implementation of a national strategy for learner attainment, we have increased curriculum coverage, learner support teacher materials, and their utilization. Other fundamental innovations that we've done include incremental introduction of African languages. We've prioritized also teaching of English across the curriculum to improve learner performance in various subjects and ensuring that English ceases to be a barrier of learning. With the implementation of CAPS, the English first additional language is offered as a subject in grade 1. We've also, in 2014, will be introducing South African Sign Language for the first time. We know the road is long, but we're also very excited that we will be able to fulfill our commitment to attain inclusive education. And guided by the teacher collaboration framework, we have prioritized teacher development with the support of unions and non-profit organizations that run capacity building programs for teachers and districts. And we're also quite happy and grateful to our teacher unions. The main 3 teacher unions, South Afrikaanse Onderwyser Unie, SADTU, and NAPTOSA, have established their professional teacher development institutes. And this year only, in partnership with them, we've trained more than 55,000 teachers. The qualifications of our teachers has improved from 53% in 1990 to 95% in 2010. And we have a number of programs that we have in the pipeline to support our teachers. We consider well-maintained and efficiently operated schools facilities as major contributions to the quality of education. And again, we can report, it will be on our website, the number of schools that we are building, the targets that we have in terms of sanitation, because we do believe that with happy children we can do more, particularly mindful of their past inequalities in the provision of services. And thanks to the pro-poor policies of this government, because over 8 million children, 8 million of our children are receiving free education. Almost 80%, 80.9% are in no-fee schools, and we feed more than 8 million kids on a daily basis. We have programs also that look at the well-being of our learners. Again, I will not go into that. We also are working in progress around history in our schools. And on the matter of security, which you raised, with the South African Police Services, we've linked about 16,000 schools to police stations and activated school safety communities. So, because that also is a factor, we've also prioritized the use of technology as an enabler in the classroom. And again, we heard from Telkom, all the plans that we're working, that are in pipeline. We're also working with your major telephone companies, or Eskom, MTN, Vodacom, and Cell C are also partners in the ICT rollout program. This year, we launched also what we call the National Education Collaboration Framework, which is part of what the NDP had recommended. But before even the launch of the collaboration framework, we did establish partnerships with a number of business organizations, government departments, and NGOs. But what is more important about the collaboration, it helps us to consolidate all the work that we're doing with partnerships, which is, as I said, one of the major areas that had been raised in the NDP, and we are already implementing it. We believe that working together with our communities, we can do more. Through unity, we brought this country to where it is today. So free from separate amenities for racial groups, free from segregation and school communities, we think we can even do more as a country. It is us who had ensured that all our people have a right to vote. So I think it is us also as a nation who have to make sure that indeed all our children enjoy the rights that are there in the Constitution. And in closing, Chair, as I said, the full speech will be on our website. I thought I should really run through some of the points because it will clock your conversation, and we will put the speech on our website. So in closing, I want to wish all our learners success in the end of the year exams, particularly the class of 2013, on whom we have invested our hopes for a better life for all South Africans, like all other previous matriculants. We can go home satisfied that we have a solid foundation for an education system for a knowledge-based global economy. Education standards are continuing to improve because of strategic plans and interventions we have put in place, as I've reported to the nation. And transformation of education, we want to repeat, is a journey, not a destination, and we'll continue doing our utmost best in this journey to realize the aspirations and the dreams of all South Africans. Thank you very much.
Minister, if I could ask you to join us here.